Rich content certainly plays a key role in flight shopping, and what I'm going to walk you through for the next 7 or so minutes is a way that rich content can really come to life and change the flight shopping experience alongside other ATPCO content to be used where customers will really be able to find the products that they're looking for. So I'm the head of content strategy at ATPCO, and next generation storefront, we believe, is one of the most critical ways that we want to engage the industry on content in the next few years. My colleague Becky, who drives a lot of the program, she can't join us today, so I'll give you a walkthrough. But basically, this is a return of an old friend. NGS, Next Generation Storefront, is a program that we launched about 2 years ago under a very different form. So I'm going to quickly give you a little bit of history in terms of where we came from and how we got to where we are now. And then I'll explain to you all how we are going to work with airlines and channels and the whole rest of the industry to change flight shopping on the back of NGS. So it wasn't too long ago, and this is how we start many of our presentations, but it always is worth remarking. Flight shopping once looked like this, and it wasn't that long ago, and there still are some channels that look like this. A price and schedule view, no context, no real information about what you are buying. That is a world that fortunately many channels and certainly most airlines on their direct websites have moved beyond. And they've gotten to displays that look quite a bit better. So this is a view from 3 years ago of an integration that happened at that time of a customer of ATPCO that used Route Happy content to enrich their display. You can see it looks nothing like the previous screen, much more visually appealing, much more informative. It seems like the kind of modern flight shopping experience that we're used to when we buy most other things online. Looks that way. The visual's great. Having the information is great. It's awesome to have more context. And I recall from 3 years ago, this customer saw a great increase in referrals as a result of being able to show better information to their customers. Fewer people dropped off the page. They went on to make the booking at a much higher rate once they had this information. But what we saw from working with so much of the industry on integrations like this and from engaging our airline and channel partners is that this was a great enhancement to the display, but it didn't actually change the way that customers shopped, because this was coloring the shopping results with better information, but it wasn't actually enabling the customer to shop for the product they want. It wasn't moving away from simply show me the lowest price fare and assume that all I am is a low fare search and that I don't care about anything else and that I'm not interested in choosing based on other criteria. So we launched Next Generation Storefront in 2019, and we have evolved it quite a bit since then. So no surprise, given the last year, we took a little bit of a hiatus in 2020 while we were working with the industry on their more urgent priorities. But what we're doing now is we're relaunching NGS under a little bit of a different formula. So when we launched Next Generation Storefront in 2019, it included quite a bit in terms of providing formulaic approaches to how should you shelf products. How should one airline's product compare against another based on criteria that we would manage of this seat pitch must go on this shelf. These criteria must be met in terms of going on this shelf. So we started to do that in North America. We had plans to evolve to go region by region on this approach to make sure that there was a primarily seat-based algorithm that would highlight how to compare airline products fairly. And as a result of having such a prescriptive approach, what we were saying at the time was that the data to be a next generation storefront could come from any source. Basically, as long as you're able to source that data in some way, and then you follow the formula that we as an industry agreed to, you would be able to have a next generation storefront. So we worked through that. No surprise, this was a challenge in many ways. While the industry really aligned around the concept of we need to move beyond low fare search and enable customers to find the products that they want and compare those products, everybody thought that was a great idea. What we heard from the industry was for channels wanted to be able to innovate a little bit more. They didn't necessarily want to have to show the exact same view as a small leisure channel versus a large corporate channel or an airline.com or anything in between. And airlines wanted to make sure that they were able to show their products in a way that really kind of reflected the underlying data accurately. And that had consistent, reliable retailing attributes that they knew when they saw content on the channel that it could be counted on and trusted. So what we did based on the industry's feedback is we've adjusted, kind of flipped NGS on its head, where we're now saying, rather than having you must follow this particular algorithm and this formula in order to be a next generation storefront, let's play the role that only ATPCO can play as an honest broker and industry-owned company, and provide the means for the industry to innovate. I'm calling from Hoboken, New Jersey today, Frank Sinatra's birthplace, and he would say this is doing it my way. I, as a channel, want to be able to show what matters to my customers and what I think will resonate, which might mean shelves, it might mean drawers, it might mean shopping by attribute, it might be further innovations that we haven't even thought of yet. And the way that we can enable that as an honest broker in the industry is to provide a standard set of retailing attributes that can be used across the globe, and to use ATPCO's position as the source of consistent data that the industry can rely upon. So that way, if you see that a channel is using ATPCO's data to create their own storefront, you know that the data is accurate. You as an airline know that your products are being represented in the right way. So the way we're launching NGS, and we're going to get into this a little bit more next week when we have a 1 hour, more formal deep dive relaunch, is that NGS enables flyers to shop for the products they want by enabling shop by attribute and comparison flight shopping with accurate and consistent results. So the implication here is that any channel that uses ATPCO data and standards are a key part of this, to enable consumers to shop for the product that they want, is an NGS channel. So what this means is that channels out there will be using ATPCO content in order to drive their next generation storefront displays. It'll be their call if they want to plaster all over that display, "We are a next generation storefront," or if they want to call it "My Company's Storefront," or any other name that they want to come up with. ATPCO, of course, always loves partnering with any company that wants to highlight that they are a part of our program very loudly and proudly and publicly. But as long as you are using our data to create a modern flight shopping display that gets away from low fare search, you are, in our book, a next generation storefront. So what that enables is views that look a little bit more like this. This is, of course, a mock-up, but think of this as a comparative drawer display. I usually say draw. That's a very New Jersey thing, but I've been coached to say drawer. A comparative drawer display, which allows the comparison of different airline products. So you can show the customer exactly why there should be different options for the customer, and show the customer why they should select that higher option. It's better for the airline, it's better for the channel, and it's better for the customer. Not every customer wants to buy this product on the left that isn't as comfortable, that doesn't include as much in the ticket. If you simply show them better information, they're likely to act on it. With, of course, the standards and the standardized data that's powering this on the bottom, and then complemented on the top by visual content, kind of building off of what Dennis and Nadine mentioned in the previous section, where if you want to upsell a customer to a higher cabin rather than just a higher fare, probably the best way to do that is to really show them and make them feel emotional and feel them compelled to buy what they're going to be doing. And that's a great way to complement a more standardized, structured display that NGS can offer. The good thing is, as we often find in air shopping, is that there's a bit of a precedent for this. In hotel shopping, this already exists quite nicely in many cases. So did a couple of searches for a vacation that I'm taking later this summer on a couple different websites, and you can see a few examples of this concept already playing out in real life. So on the left, searching for this hotel, you can see filters, shop by attribute, only show me the properties that have this. Show me standardized content and complement it with the visuals so that I really understand, no matter what type of decision I'm making, how I can proceed. Allow me to sort based on something other than just price and schedule. Show me the distance. Maybe there's other things that you would want to enable a sort by on the back of our standard data. And then, of course, drawers. Show me the different options that are available without me having to select from a drop down and do 4 separate searches by cabin. Show me the different options so that I can see what is best for me as a customer. So we'll do this on the back of standards. So what we are doing behind the scenes, and then what we will be engaging the industry on upcoming, is we are starting with a list of 16 retailing attributes. This actually was a holdover from our previous iteration of NGS a few years ago. And we are taking this data and defining it into searchable properties, basically giving the industry a roadmap for how and where can you get this data in ATPCO's ecosystem, and exactly what does that data mean? How is it defined so that you know that if you see that data on channel A versus channel B, it might look different based on the display, but it will be the same underlying data, where as we update it, it will flow to the entire industry. And we'll work with the industry to define what are the properties of these data, what are the things that I need to show in order to enable a customer to search for different carry-on policies or different seat selection policies, or don't just show me if a flight has any old Wi-Fi, only show me the ones that have best Wi-Fi. What are the properties that enable that? And we'll be seeking feedback to make sure that as time evolves and as the industry and flight shopping changes, that we will have different properties and different attributes added to this. So of course, what you don't see here is anything related to health and safety. Wouldn't surprise me at all in the coming weeks if, in discussing with the industry how our attributes should work, maybe we should add a couple of health and safety attributes to this, because we think customers really want to shop for that nowadays. So it'll be an ongoing evolution to the product based on how the industry advises us that these data should be part of our standards, and you'll have a clear roadmap for how we're going to evolve that and make it easier over time, so that over time there are fewer and fewer sources within ATPCO for this data, but rather it becomes a very simple experience. So where we will go from here, basically right now, if you're an ATPCO customer as an airline or a channel, best way to start down this path is to have a conversation with your integrations or your partner success rep to basically see, as an airline, do I have the right data in ATPCO systems so that I would show up in the right places? Do I have the right things filed? Do I have the right content that is available? Am I highlighting my product in the best way possible with customized content? And then, as I mentioned, more deeply, we'll be going into this 1 week from today in a 1-hour update for airlines and channels that will actually go through some samples of some attributes. We'll talk through how to use my ATPCO to upvote certain concepts that we're putting out to the industry. And we'll be regularly updating the industry with our progress here, because we want this to be a very engaged process that ensures that the industry is really changing the way that flight shopping works. And the only way to do that, as Andrea said at the beginning, is to do so together. So looking forward to having you on board for this.